Whenever I'm looking for something to watch here on YouTube, I find that my favorite type of content is extremely niche video essays about completely random topics. There's just something so compelling about listening to people spend hours talking about their favorite hyperfixations, from themed restaurants to obscure amusement park history. One day, I had found myself deep in the trenches of video essays about indie horror games and ARG content. So it made me start to think about the spooky web series with all of my favorite mascot characters. Why weren't there any video essays talking about Welcome to Dreamworld? Where were all of the theories dissecting the timeline and decoding all of the secrets that were hidden in each episode? Most importantly, what did I have to do to get a YouTuber to explore the story's world building? In that moment, I had a realization, one that had not occurred to me for the entire year I'd spent fixated on this project. I am a YouTuber who makes extremely niche video essays about completely random topics. If I want someone to make a video essay about Welcome to Dreamworld so badly, then it was time for me to do it myself. That's right, everyone. Today's video is going to be a deep dive into the world building of my passion project, Welcome to Dreamworld, which has been in the works for well over a year now. In case you're not familiar with the series, let me give you the basic rundown. Welcome to Dreamworld is an analog horror web series created and posted by Rainbott here on YouTube. It officially began as a web series in the summer of 2022, and the project will also be receiving an indie horror game later this year, in the form of connected YouTube videos with secret puzzles and a wide variety of ARG elements. The series follows Wyatt Nicholson, a recently hired employee for the Dreamworld entertainment facility, through camera footage taken by Wyatt himself, along with footage from others interspersed throughout. When the facility collapses, leaving Wyatt trapped on the lowest floor of the facility, the Starlight Theatre, he attempts to escape with the help of the performing animatronic Starlight. That synopsis for the series was actually read directly from the Dreamworld Entertainment fan Wiki, which is an amazing place for fans to check all sorts of story or character information. I've read every page on the wiki, and so far everything is 100% accurate to the series canon. It's absolutely insane that they were able to document all of this, even down to the secret messages and codes that flash across the screen in each episode. I know that all of this is true because I am Rainbott. They are me. We are the same person. I built this project from scratch with a team of friends, so I am officially the main expert on all things Welcome to Dreamworld. And, as the expert, I'm about to do something absolutely crazy. AKA, you're about to watch me make a video essay where I talk about the world building and lore surrounding Dreamworld Entertainment for roughly half an hour. Without a script. Let's get started, shall we? Just to clarify, this video is not going to recap the storyline of the web series or spoil anything in the upcoming ARG. Welcome to Dreamworld is meant to be experienced as an unraveling mystery, where you watch the story out of chronological order, and part of the fun is letting fans piece together the timeline on their own. In this video, I will only be talking about the world building of Dreamworld Entertainment as a company, along with any lore of relevant characters. You can watch this video before you decide if you want to watch the series or not, because you will be safe from any major spoilers. To make this easy for myself, since I'm already going to be rambling without a script for most of the video, I've divided everything into 4 sections: Dreamworld Entertainment, animatronic mascots, important human characters, and watchful eye toys. I'll also answer some popular fan questions at the very end, so be sure to stick around for that. All of the information I'm about to give about Dreamworld Entertainment and the facility itself will be taken directly from the company's public website, which you're free to explore after this video. Dreamworld Entertainment was a small company founded by 3 ambitious high school graduates, Lewis Bright, Sarah Covetman, and Oliver Acrimony. After winning a statewide robotics competition, the team of aspiring engineers used the prize money to open up their very own recreational facility and arcade. The facility was run by their newly founded company, Dreamworld Entertainment, which would later become defunct sometime after the early 2000s. When it came to engineering projects, Dreamworld Entertainment was always determined to push the limits of what could be created with machines. They would create extremely advanced animatronic characters that could perform stage shows and freely roam their company's facility. Each of the animatronic characters have bright, colorful designs that are themed around the concept that they're meant to host activities for. Starlight has theater masks for his on-stage performances. Ribbon Dancer has 4 arms to help him navigate the trampoline park. Glory has ocean waves painted onto her chest, and the same idea continues with the rest of the cast. The only characters that act as an exception to this general rule are the Triplets, who are each themed to correspond with a different existing animatronic, acting as an assistant or sidekick for events or group activities. Long before the Dreamworld entertainment facility was built, there was a young girl with a dream. Sarah Covetman wanted to create something new and innovative in the field of family entertainment. She had been bullied a lot in school, so she wanted to make sure there were mascot characters that could make sure no kid was ever left out of the experience. In school, she met an equally creative boy named Lewis Bright. Lewis had a knack for visual design and crafting complex worlds that you could immerse yourself in. With Sarah's unique ideas and Lewis's ability to bring them to life, all they needed was someone who could help with the technical side of things. Luckily, the duo met Oliver Acrimony in their computer class, and the trio of friends had been inseparable for many years after this first encounter. Unfortunately, Lewis had gone missing about 2 months before the first Dreamworld entertainment facility could open, and Oliver went missing a few weeks after. Sarah is now the sole owner in charge of the building, but she is sure to pay tribute to her friends that left the team. The Dreamworld entertainment facility was built in an abandoned storage complex that was gifted to the 3 founders as the prize of a statewide robotics competition, along with a large sum of money and equipment to get the facility ready within less than a year. The facility's doors were opened to the public during the early 2000s, but no exact dates for the building's opening and closing are currently known. It is speculated that the Dreamworld entertainment facility had been built somewhere in Ohio, due to recovered information discussing the founders' high school and the robotics contest, but there is no existing evidence that points to a more specific location. To promote the facility itself, various side projects were created with the colorful cast of mascot characters of Dreamworld Entertainment, such as animated shorts, physical merchandise, and short storybooks teaching children to play with their friends. A recently discovered pamphlet seems to depict a map that may have been used to help guests navigate the facility. According to this map, the facility has 8 floors, but they do not go upwards as the map would lead you to believe. The lobby had been the first floor of the building, but it was also the only part of the structure that was built above ground. Everything else had been built underground, going down as the floor numbers were meant to rise, making Star Act the lowest level of the building. It has also been noted that many people seem to recall being able to enter Sea Venture from many different locations throughout the facility, such as beneath Trampoland, so it is theorized that the water park may have expanded to be built around multiple levels after this map was made. As you can see, we got an entire map for the facility, but Sea Venture kind of wraps around because they expanded it to make more room for Glory's animatronic because she's big, and also to make more slides and stuff for the water park. So it kind of like wraps around, and that's why, spoiler alert, but not really, that's why in the web series you can enter and fall into Sea Venture from like multiple different levels because it wraps around kind of like a little slinky on the outside of other levels, and sometimes it weaves underneath or above other ones, but the main area of Sea Venture is still on floor number 3, technically speaking. Some of the levels also have like other names that aren't listed on this map here, like Star Act is also more commonly referred to as the Starlight Theatre, and the Madhouse level is also known as the Haunted House attraction, or the Maze in some instances. Like, they have other names, like Sea Venture is just the water park. I guess it just depends who's talking about it, really, because some characters like to prefer strictly with the official names only, but others just go, oh yeah, that's the theater. Like, it's a personal preference thing. Both are technically correct. I'm also going to take a peek at what the people on the Dreamworld Entertainment fan wiki have said about each level of the building to confirm or deny any facts we know about them, because so far, basically every level of the building has shown up in the web series, so let's take a quick peek. The lobby is a general floor of the facility and the only floor to exist above ground. It contains an open space accessible to guests, which contains arcade games and a small pool place for Glory to occasionally interact with guests. The lobby floor also includes a lounge and locker room for Dreamworld staff, offices for the founders, and a maintenance room for the animatronics. All of that is correct, and I'd even go to say that there's also a desk for ticket sales. Like, there's a little gift shop off to the side that we actually haven't seen. Surprisingly enough, in the web series, we have not seen any of the gift shops yet. That's one of the few things we haven't seen. But there would be a gift shop in the lobby, and there is also the ticket desk where you get your tickets and wristbands where you pay for the different attractions. Because when you ride the elevator, you can go down to any level of the building, but you have to buy wristbands to go into each individual level if you are a customer. So unless you're an employee, you'd need a pink wristband to go into Cheers Roller Rink, or a green wristband to go into Ribbon Dancer's Trampoland. It's to prevent guests from just, like, sneaking past security and just going into the elevator directly, because there aren't any gates in front of the elevator, but when you exit the elevator, I imagine there would be, like, gates somewhere near the, like, entryway for guests where you'd have to stand and wait your turn. There's also, like, a rainbow wristband that's just for, like, all attractions, obviously, but you don't want to pay for all attractions if you're only here to go to the arcade, or if you're only here to see a theater show with your kid. It's kind of like how my local arcade does things when they divide everything up. The racetrack is the second descending level of the facility, and this is Rex's attraction. The floor is dedicated to a go-kart racetrack where guests could race one another, which was safely overseen by Rex. This floor of this facility is probably the only one we have not seen in the web series yet, but you will see it in the upcoming ARG. I will make sure that we actually get a visual for what the racetrack looks like. But yeah, Rex runs this attraction, so it's very fire and sun themed. The lobby is kind of just themed around everyone, so like it matches the colors of the logo, and it's very just rainbow, but the other floors match individual animatronics. For instance, the racetrack level matches Rex, so it's a lot of like yellows, oranges, and it's very cool guy themed. Like, kids probably have to put on visors for some of the more interactive elements for games that you can play on the racetrack, and those visors are like red glasses that would look like the ones that Rex wears. It would be a lot of themed merchandise. You could buy like little remote control race cars that you could run around your house with. Like, it's that sort of stuff. It's very cute. The racetrack is also the level that is connected to every single other security tunnel and backstage pass in the entire facility. Some of them connect to like other random floors, but the only floor of the facility that connects to every single security tunnel is the Raceway, and that's because Rex is also the security guy, so he needs to go from his attraction to every single other floor of the building. The secret tunnels are one of the only ways to access other levels of the building aside from the elevator. They are the main way to use ramps or stairs, because Dreamworld Entertainment is not up to OSHA code, and they don't have stairs. Otherwise, Wyatt would have been able to just walk out of the fucking building, and we would have been done in episode 1, so OSHA violations, hooray! Sea Venture is chiefly located on the third descending level of the facility, though it is noted to have expanded out to other levels, including wrapping around Trampoland to include a pool beneath the other attraction. The floor contains a water park that includes pools large enough to house the Glory animatronic in. Several tracks are built on floors around and within the pools that allow the animatronic to move around, appearing to swim in the water. Sea Venture is home to the Beachside Mermaids private event, where guests can swim in the deepest pool, search for treasure around the park, and dress up like mermaids. That last bit is kind of inspired by like how kids' birthday parties, you can invite princesses to come hang out with you. It's like that, but like you lay out towels, and the towels are like the types of towels that look like little surfboards, and you just like lay them all out, and you can have slumber parties there, movie nights, and they have a big projector. It was something I did when I was a kid. Like, we'd have custom towels with our names on it, and they looked like surfboards. Mine used to be a big purple surfboard towel. I got it at some chick's birthday party. So I like the idea of doing that and then having like a bunch of tropical or mermaid decorations. I think it would be really fun. Trampoland is the fourth descending level of the facility, and it is the attraction associated with Ribbon Dancer. The floor is a massive trampoline park for guests to jump in, and includes trapeze swings for Ribbon Dancer and other guests to use. Above the playroom is a smaller area where guests who don't want to participate in the more active trampoline games can sit and keep an eye on their children. Trampoland is home to Trampoline Jump, which is a private event where guests can let their children wear themselves out while learning how to trapeze with Ribbon Dancer. This is also kind of understated, but the Trampoland also doubles as an art studio, because I was inspired by this like local cafe up where I go to school, like up where I go to college in Savannah, Georgia. There's this place that doubles as a cafe and an art studio. Like, half of it is a cafe where people can sit and order drinks, and then the other half is an art studio that has like arts and crafts that cycle through every month depending on like what theme or holiday it is. Like, they had Easter crafts, and then they had like fun summer crafts where you could like build a little island out of construction paper and like paint it. That sort of thing. So off to the side in Trampoland, I like to believe that there would be a little crafts table, and it would probably be more managed by employees because Ribbon Dancer is going batshit crazy on the trampolines all the time, but that is the reason why his character design is like covered in paint splatters. It's because he's also like the arts and crafts guy. It's about exercising your body and exercising your mind. That was the idea behind him. So there you go. That's why he's covered in paint. The roller rink is the 5th descending level of the facility and is Cheer's attraction. The floor is a large roller rink where other guests can skate and race one another using rollerblades or roller skates. Cheer herself would not only host games, but actively participate in races alongside guests. Outside of the roller rink is a small seating area and tables. The roller rink is the hosting ground for the Roller Racing Games private event, where all skate will be paused to make way for the facility's large foam dice. Everyone can participate in various games and earn prizes from them. This is based on the roller rink from my hometown, where basically the dice game is there are like 6 different points in the roller rink. Like, the roller rink is a big oval, and there are 6 points. There's the 4 corners, and then there's one on like the front middle and then the back middle of the roller rink, and those are all numbered 1 through 6. The guy who does the DJ booth pauses the music and stops all skates, so he comes out and it's like musical chairs. He plays the music and everyone continues skating around, but when the music stops, you have to pick one of the 6 spots to stand in, and then they take a giant foam die and they throw it and roll it, and whatever number the foam die lands on, anyone standing in that corner is out. So if you're standing in corner number 4 when the music stops, because everyone has to stop and pick an area to stand when the music stops, so if you're standing in number 4 and the dice rolls number 4, you're out, and then you have to get off the rink until the game concludes. Everyone just kind of goes until there's only like 1 person left. It's very fun. It's very stupid, but it's one of my fondest memories about that place. The roller rink also definitely has like a little concession area where you can like get off to the side and drink like slushies and stuff, because again, that's another thing that my childhood roller rink has, and I still really like going to get ices and soda pops there. So I imagine that there's just like a little seating area, kind of like there's one in Trampoland, which is again based on the trampoline park where I live. You're gonna start to see a running theme. A lot of this is based on stuff that I experienced as a kid or just like to fondly look back on in the area where I live. Ohio isn't all cornfields, guys. We have crazy murder robots and all of this other stuff. The Madhouse is the 6th descending level of the facility and is Lollipop's attraction. The level consists of a maze-like haunted house that includes false walls. The Lollipop animatronic would interact with guests as they explored the house, playing games and pranks with them. The Madhouse is home to the Haunted House private event where guests could have a Halloween-themed party at any time of the year. Partygoers could sneak through the haunted house and scare fellow players with Lollipop and learn how to apply Halloween makeup. If you couldn't guess, this is inspired by something I did, just like everything else on this fucking list. I did volunteering at haunted houses, and I'd really like being a scare actor. I'd get myself all dolled up in makeup. I'd forced my dad to come with me, and I'd drag my friends. I'm like, come on, let's go scare some middle schoolers. Like, it was my favorite thing. I think that one of the most traumatic experiences I ever had working at the haunted house is I was dressed as a plague doctor for the gothic room, and I was slowly rising in front of the fireplace, and I was like doing my bit, and I was like unfolding my body slowly, and I turn around, and that's when I remember that this is the night we have a discount for middle schoolers who pay once and then they can go in as many times as they want. And I only discovered that because when I turned around, it was like a group of just like 15 middle school boys, which are the fucking worst people to go through haunted houses with. They are dicks the whole time, I swear to God. But like, I'm standing there in my full plague doctor costume, like kind of half unfurled, and I just go, like, I'm just standing there, I don't know what to do, and then the kid just goes, like, he raises his hand, and I've never had someone raise their fucking hand in the middle of a haunted house thing, so I, like, kind of stop the music, and I, like, go, yes, is this a safety concern? And he goes, are you the guy from Fortnite? And I just kind of stared at that kid as, like, my life flashed before my eyes, and then I just went, no. And then I stomped forward and triggered the jump scare, and they ran out of there screaming. There was like a little pressure plate that I could stomp on that triggers flashing lights, loud noises, and I can lean over the railing so I'm almost touching them. That scared the shit out of them. One of the kids almost peed. No regrets, best night of my life. Arcadescape is the 7th level of the facility, and it is where the triplet animatronics, Melody, Masquerade, and Mimic most frequently were found. The floor is an extensive arcade featuring not just popular arcade games, but custom-made games themed after different animatronics and mascots of the facility. This is just a really big arcade, and there's like a little bar section off to the side for the adults that don't want to deal with it, but it's basically just Chuck E. Cheese meets Dave & Buster's on crack cocaine. Like, it's just a lot of arcade machines, a lot of games. They have like a big play area, like, you know, the daycare and like fucking Security Breach, or like the play places at McDonald's. They have a giant one of those, fucking massive. Like, it's probably 4 stories high, and there are zip lines on it. I love it. It's very cool, and we will learn more about the triplets when we get to the character section of the video, but I will say that there was originally supposed to be a different character in charge of the arcade, but when that plan fell through, they just went like, well, we have these guys already, let's just stop making the assistants and make these into a pair of triplets. Let's just make them their own mascot, and let's make this their floor. That's why the arcade is kind of like the lobby, where it's just themed after every animatronic, and the triplets also match other animatronics. They were kind of just shoved in there last minute. We'll get into that when we get to the character section. Star Act, also known as the Starlight Theatre, is the 8th and final level of the facility and is the attraction associated with Starlight. The floor is a large theater where Starlight would perform interactive musical shows for the audience. Star Act is where the musical stage play private event is hosted. Participating guests would be able to join Starlight on stage to participate in different improv games and sing karaoke to public domain songs. This probably seems like the most boring part of the building, but as a theater kid, I can assure you, no, it's fucking not. Nuh-uh. Basically, it's a big theater, but there's also an outside part of the theater. There are smaller theaters. It's like a movie theater combined with like the lobby that you'd get into before you go into like Playhouse Square or an actual theater to see a musical. So there's a big lobby area with like concessions, posters, merch. There's another gift shop down here because if we have one on the top, we gotta have one on the bottom. And then there's the big main theater, which is where Starlight does his shows and where other traveling like artists and actors can come in and interact with him and do improv. All that stuff. Sometimes there are actual musical performances by Starlight, other times it is interactive games where, like, going to an improv class, it's kind of like that, but for kids, and kids fucking love that shit. They love it. But there are also smaller theaters off to the side that you can go in to watch movies. It's basically like a movie theater that you'd go to at the mall. You can go get a ticket, and then whatever movies they've bought, you can watch movies there. Normally, it's like different genres of movies, so there's an option for everyone to kind of like lure you in no matter what you like. And then if you want to do some interactive stuff after, you can also go to this little party room off to the side where when Starlight is taking breaks in between shows, normally they have like little... Have you ever heard of silent raves where people like put in Bluetooth headsets and then they can listen to music and jam out without it blaring speakers through the whole building? There's a silent rave area in the very back of the theater section, so even if you don't want to sit still long enough for one of the theater shows, or you don't want to watch any of the movies, there's a little section where you can just kind of party it out, and you can do that without disturbing any of the other guests that are trying to actively listen to the theater stuff, or doing improv, and even, they also host karaoke nights at the theater. It is very multifaceted. There is a lot of stuff that goes on down there. Under the facility, there is also a place known as the Caves. I can't tell you a lot about it because it's not on the map, 1, and 2, that would be spoilers for the show, like the web series, but there's a cave system around and mostly underneath the facility, because everything was built underground in like this empty storage warehouse. There's an entire cave that the warehouse was built into, so just keep that in mind for future reference. I am taking this off because it's really fucking hot in this room. So now I'm just wearing a shirt with a cat on it, and that's how it's gonna be for the rest of the video. There were originally 14 animatronics created for the facility, but 4 of them were decommissioned and 1 was repurposed to work backstage with the other employees, mostly Sarah Covetman, the current founder and owner of the facility at the time of its opening. We won't talk about any of those redacted animatronics, so we're not talking about the 4 decommissioned ones, and we're not talking about the one that became Sarah's assistant, but we will be covering all 9 of the remaining mascots that worked within Dreamworld Entertainment. First up on our list is Starlight. I have a plush of him right here. Look at that. He's my little guy. And I voice him, so I don't have any of the filters on my voice right now, but it's kind of like this, but with a bunch of fucking weird shit put on it in Audacity, which Rainbott barely knows how to use. A true thespian at heart, always ready to break into song or perform for his friends, this shooting star had shined so brightly that he wanted to share that light with the people on the ground below, so he flew down from the sky to sing with us every single day. This animatronic was irregularly stationed in Star Act, also known as the Starlight Theatre, which is where he would put on interactive musical shows for facility guests. His model at the facility was roughly 6'8" in height, equipped with 2 dueling half masks, a split-dye bow tie, and a retro suit with shooting star theming. This model would be moved around by a mechanical support beam attached to its back, which was connected to the ceiling by tracks that were built around the facility like predetermined pathways, meant to convince children that the character was really flying. His personality was extremely charismatic and flamboyant, a total diva that enjoys embracing the spotlight every time he's brought on stage. He speaks with a posh voice and a notably thespian vernacular, often referring to his fellow animatronics or facility guests as darling. Dreamworld Entertainment had intended for this character to get children excited about the storytelling and culture of classic theater shows. He was most commonly seen at Star Act or gliding through the hallway. This animatronic most frequently interacted with no particular cast member, instead acting as an unofficial leader for other mascots that could guide and direct the group. This guy right here, I love him. He was the very first character I ever designed, way before I even decided that Welcome to Dreamworld would become an original series or project of any sort. I just designed him for fun, and the rest of the characters followed after that. I'm trying to think about any fun facts that are relevant specifically to Starlight, but because he's kind of like the face of the series, he's like the main mascot character, I'm having a hard time thinking of anything that isn't public knowledge. I guess I could play my trap card. I guess I could reveal the secret to my success with designing these animatronic characters. You see, Starlight was inspired by a Care Bear. Don't laugh. Starlight and all of the other original animatronics from the main lineup, all 9 of the ones we're going to go over today, all of those were inspired by Care Bears, and it's because my dad used to be a creative director for American Greetings, which was a company that worked with a lot of Care Bears stuff, so, I think you can see, there very clearly, you can see the inspiration, you can see where it came from. What have you fucking done to me? What have you done? So yeah, all of the characters were inspired by things that are nostalgic for me. Starlight was inspired by my time in high school as a theater kid, and I would still be a theater kid in college if there was any active theater program at my school to join, but being an animation student takes up a lot of your time. So yeah, the nostalgic stuff that he was based on was my time as a theater kid, which is probably obvious, and also just the Care Bears in general, especially Wish Bear here. I'll try to mention what other animatronics were inspired by particular Care Bears. Like off the top of my head, Rex was Sunshine Bear. Lollipop was Friend Bear, which is really funny because there's also a Care Bear called Best Friend Bear, and I feel like they'd fucking fight it out over that. Cheer was based off of Cheer Bear, which I find really fucking funny. Ribbon Dancer was based off of Oopsie Bear, color-wise, which he's one of my favorite Care Bears, and I have a photo with my little brother of the 2 of us buried in Care Bears at the end of the Oopsie Does It Care Bears movie. So, random fun fact about Rainbott, they're in the end credits of a Care Bears movie, and that's why they inspired all of their scary murder robots off of Care Bears. Next up, we have Lollipop. Curious twins with an insatiable sweet tooth, both avid horror enthusiasts who share a knack for playing hide-and-seek. The children of our world loved Halloween so much that their love created an ambassador for the holiday. two lollipops bound together by ribbon and friendship. This animatronic was regularly stationed in Madhouse, which is where they would play games with facility guests, exploring the haunted house attraction. Their model at the facility was roughly 6'9" in height, equipped with two heads, puffy costume sleeves, and heart-shaped buttons on the chest of their violet jumpsuit. This model would be able to freely roam throughout the entire facility. Their personality was split between the two heads, with Pop being a playful troublemaker, while Lolly acts as the kind voice of reason. Lolly and Pop both speak with younger, friendly voices, often exchanging banter back and forth like a pair of bickering siblings. Dreamworld Entertainment had intended for this character to help children conquer their fears and enjoy sweet treats between all of the facility's fun events. Lollipop was most commonly seen at Madhouse and the lobby, where they would often ask staff members to help search for someone. This animatronic most frequently interacted with themselves, since the two heads are both literally and metaphorically inseparable. I don't have a lot to say about Lollipop other than the fact that I love Halloween. It is my favorite holiday by a landslide, like to the point where I am going to be flying home from college this October just for a weekend so I can go to a shit ton of haunted houses in Ohio, because where I go to school there's like not a lot of fun stuff to do for Halloween, so I'm literally making time off from work and from school stuff just to go to more haunted houses. And there's also the whole I used to do volunteer work at haunted houses. I might try to do that when I come back for October, and I'm really excited about it. I like it a lot. Scare acting was one of my favorite things in high school and continues to be something I look very fondly upon. I also really like doing like cosplay and costume makeup, so having a character that is literally the embodiment of the holiday about wearing costumes is really fun to me. And I also really like candy. If you ask any of my friends, I have a very sweet tooth, so yeah. If they weren't based off of Friend Bear, the colors would have definitely still been like pink and blue. It's obviously not for gender reasons, it's just because I really like cotton candy, and getting cotton candy at like local carnivals was like one of my favorite things to do when I was little. Now we are on to Ribbon Dancer. This colorful lemur was so excited to explore the world that he grew an extra pair of arms to help him climb trees, quickly learning how to perform aerial stunts and jump from branch to branch. To take a small piece of the world with him wherever he goes, he loves to paint pictures of his favorite places. This animatronic was regularly stationed in Trampoland, which is where he would perform elaborate jumps and trapeze tricks to entertain facility guests. His model at the facility was roughly 6'5" in height, equipped with 4 arms, baggy green pants splattered with paint, a midsection capable of rotating 360 degrees, and a rainbow tail that enabled him to hang from the ceiling. This model would be able to freely roam throughout the entire facility. His personality was very enthusiastic and spontaneous. He speaks with a loud, energized voice. Dreamworld Entertainment had intended for this character to get kids excited about exercising their bodies and their brains, hence his alternating interests between trampoline games and painting. He was most commonly seen at Trampoland, playing on the trampolines or painting pictures in Rink. This animatronic most frequently interacted with Cheer or Starlight. Alright, I'm about to blow your fucking mind. Do you want to know what inspired this character? Because I know, I already said, Rainbott, you already said all the characters were fucking Care Bears. I know, it's not the Care Bear. It was like my fucking childhood obsession. Like, listen guys, I have so many fucking stuffed animals. This isn't even close to all of them. I have so many fucking stuffed animals, and there's like, they're everywhere. It's a problem. Stuffed animals up there, stuffed animals here. I can't fucking help it. I'm sitting on my knees because I'm going crazy right now. But there was one fucking animal that drove me insane when I was younger. I just fucking loved it, and I still don't know why. As a kid, I had this huge hyperfixation, specifically with ring-tailed lemurs, and I don't know why. I just really liked lemurs. I'd like to see them at the zoo. I'd like to see them, like, in little, like, window displays. I'd like lemur stuffed animals, and I would collect lemur stuffed animals. Specifically, these old Beanie Baby rainbow lemur stuffed animals. So I have a shit ton of these. Like, this one's a bit, mangled, because he was my very first one, and I've had him for the longest. Here's his tail. And I'm aware that some of these are not intended to be lemurs, but as a kid, I just kind of saw the tail and assumed they were lemurs, so just fucking roll with it. This is Mr. Cuddlekins. yes, that's his real name, and he was one of my very first stuffed animals. And I had like a whole family tree going on, and I remember nothing about the family tree other than the fact that these two were married. This Mr. Cuddlekins was also a woman, and the mom, so I don't know why it was Mr. Cuddlekins, but hey, good for her / him. And then this one, I don't remember any of their names except for Cuddlekins. I have this one, so, okay, listen, let's put them up here. I have this one, and I have this one. But I also have this one with his fucking tail, so he goes here. I have another one. Don't you fucking fall on me, we're in this together. This was the second one I ever got. I'm pretty sure this is a raccoon, but fuck me, I guess, because I thought it was a lemur. So it also goes here. I don't have room over there, I'm putting him here. Okay. This thing, I don't know what this is, but I thought it was a lemur. So, you know, it went in the collection. Of course it went in the collection, because I thought it was a lemur. And then, of course, we have a sugar glider, which doesn't even have the tail. And I knew for a fact this wasn't a lemur, but I just got it anyway, and it just went with the others. So, you know, he's going there. Down here, this cotton candy thing, I think this one might be a lemur, actually. I'm not sure, but I got it, so... What? I didn't know this one made noise. That scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. And now that I'm surrounded by lemurs, let me show you the fucking finishing touch. Gay! Gay lemur! Gay lemur! This is prototype Ribbon Dancer, except not really, because Ribbon Dancer was originally going to be a monkey, but then I decided to make him a lemur. Lemur! Gay lemur! Lemur! Next on the list is Cheer, a thrill-seeking flower fairy and a total adrenaline junkie. She always loved watching lightning bolts race across the sky, so she decided to leave the enchanted forest where she grew up in hopes of finding other friends to skate with. She's a great sport, but if you mistake her for a dainty rose or a pixie, she'll knock your lights out. This animatronic was regularly stationed in Roller Rink, which is where she would play games and race around with facility guests or on roller skates. Her model at the facility was roughly 5'6" in height, equipped with shiny fairy wings, racing goggles, and a large wheel instead of legs. This model would be able to freely roam the entire facility. Her personality was daring and adventurous, but she could quickly become too competitive if other animatronics were her opponents. She speaks with a laid-back, cool inflection similar to that of a teenager. Dreamworld Entertainment had intended for this character to teach kids how to skate and encourage them to try all sorts of other new things. She was most commonly seen at Roller Rink or Trampoland, but she would occasionally visit Racetrack whenever Rex was working. This animatronic most frequently interacted with Ribbon Dancer. I don't really have anything specific to say about Cheer, other than the fact that I just really liked fairies as a kid, and she's loosely based off of, like, one of my oldest characters, because when I was trying to think of animatronics to design, I thought back of, like, my old Five Nights at Freddy's OCs I made when I was, like, in middle school, grade school. One of them was, like, a wolf animatronic that had a racing event, and it was basically just Rainbow Dash as a wolf robot, except with, like, a spacesuit theme. That was, like, a wolf robot in a space helmet who had a racetrack and, like, colored hair and stuff. So, looking back, not only did I basically predict Roxanne Wolf, like, unironically, so, you know, if Roxanne Wolf from Five Nights at Freddy's had a space helmet, that was my Five Nights at Freddy's OC. I just accidentally predicted a canon character, and I don't know how. Ribbon Dancer was inspired by my little brother's character. I'm pretty sure I was just asking him, like, what kind of animal do you want it to be? Do you want it to be a red panda? Because your favorite animal's a red panda? And he's like, I don't care, make it a monkey. I don't know, make it paint or something. And I just ended up drawing, like, a green monkey with paint on it. That became Ribbon Dancer. And then the wolf thing, completely redid it because I tried to look on nostalgic things. I'm really nostalgic for fairies and mermaids, so, you know. And I also watch My Little Pony. Too much. So it was basically just the really cool tomboy animatronic I wanted to make. I gave her, like, the cool flower stuff. I gave her the fairy wings. She's basically very heavily inspired by, like, Rainbow Dash and, like, other sporty punk girl stuff that I was into before I had my gender crisis and became non-binary. Yay! Finally, Rex. Whoever said that dragons were always big and scary? Sometimes they just want to keep everybody safe, even if their ability to breathe fire is a bit of a hazard. This dragon cares a lot about protecting his most valuable treasures, and that treasure is all of his friends down here. This animatronic was regularly stationed at Racetrack, which is where he would oversee go-karts that facility guests drove around to compete in racing events. But he would also wander throughout the rest of the building on patrols, since this mascot doubles as the main security guard. His model at the facility was roughly 8'5" in height, and if you think that's tall, give me a fucking minute, we're gonna get there, buddy. Equipped with bright red visor, sturdy dragon wings, and sharp claws that could open restricted locks if a security issue arose. This model would be able to freely roam throughout the entire facility. His personality was stern and authoritative, almost like a worried caretaker fussing over safety regulations. He speaks with a fairly deep voice. Dreamworld Entertainment had intended for this character to patrol the facility and keep guests safe, but they also wanted a stronger machine to monitor the go-karts, since they're a larger risk for children than roller skates or painting. He was most commonly seen at Racetrack or Sea Venture. This animatronic would most frequently interact with Glory, since the pair seems to be infatuated with one another. I liked dragons a lot as a kid. I really fucking liked dragons. Because I was gay, I had to make one of the robots a dragon. Like, otherwise, all of the drawings I made with Crayola crayons, where I drew every single individual scale of a dragon out of, like, little circles with Crayola crayon, and then pinned it to the fridge with a magnet, all of those drawings would have been for nothing! Alright, let's see what we got, boys. We got Book on Dragons, number 1. Book on Dragons, number 2. Book on Dragons, number 3. Book on Dragons, number 4. This one's a fucking pop-up book. And I'm pretty sure that some of these stories in these dragon books were things that I shouldn't have read until I was older. But I read them anyway, so woo, dragon! And just for anyone wondering why Rex has those weird-ass glasses, it's because I have those weird-ass glasses, and, excuse me, these are sick as shit. What's the problem? These glasses fucking rule, dude. Come on. Nearing the end of our list, there is Glory, a sea serpent with a big heart and an affinity for aquatic sports. This gentle giant is more than happy to go swimming with all of her friends. She had lived at the bottom of the ocean until a guppy led her to the surface, giving her the chance to share all sorts of stories about the deep sea and play with us. She's much larger than the other mascots because she needs a big body to hold all of her love for the surface world. This animatronic was regularly stationed in Sea Venture, which is where she would read to children and teach facility guests how to swim in the water park. Her model at the facility was roughly 16'3" in height, equipped with a shiny pearl necklace, 2 wave-like horns on her head, and a beautiful tail with ocean theming. This model would be moved around by the mechanical support beam attached beneath her tail, which was connected to the floor by tracks that were built around the swimming pools and hidden maintenance pathways outside, meant to give the illusion that she was gliding through the water with her tail. Her personality was gentle and caring, giving her a very motherly aura. She speaks with a soft, friendly voice. Dreamworld Entertainment had intended for this character to help kids learn how to swim and play with their friends in the water park. She was most commonly seen in the pools of Sea Venture, since most of her support beams tracks were inside of these pools, usually swimming with facility guests or resting at the edge of the pool to speak to other mascots. This animatronic most frequently interacted with Rex, since the pair seems to be infatuated with one another. Because you better believe that these fucking robots are in love. You better believe that they're in love. So much love. I don't know what the ship name would be, but love. There's even a keychain, like up. Okay, you can't see it, but see all of these are official Welcome to Dreamworld keychains that I've sold, like, over the last few months. There are currently Pride keychains that are very limited edition. I am never going to make these Pride keychains again. Like, the only other special edition keychain was that, like, okay, it's off screen, but, like, there's a linked one we did for episode 10 of the web series, because I thought, ooh, double digits, might as well make a special keychain to commemorate it. We have not made the episode 10 limited edition. We have not made that since. It was made only for that one run. And similarly, the Pride keychains that were just released in the shop, like this past week, they are not going to be available ever again after they sell out now. So if you would like to see the shop restock in August, consider buying one of the keychains, because once they're gone, they are gone for good. And I'm not going to be able to do another shop restock with new keychains and new characters in August if we don't sell out of our stock from July. So, just think about that. Keep that on your mind. Also, there isn't that much for me to say about Glory other than the fact that I like mermaids as a kid. My grandma always told me stories about mermaids, so I just like mermaids. And another one of my favorite games is Subnautica, so of course I'm like, I want to make a giant fucking Leviathan sea dragon thing and smack it in the facility. Like, obviously I would do that. And she's blue. Not only because water is blue, also just because when I was a kid, I made a mermaid tail that I'd swim around the public pool in and always get in trouble with lifeguards because they thought that wasn't allowed, but I'd kept bringing it into the deep end and they couldn't fucking stop me. But anyway, it was blue. So that's why she's blue. It's objectively not that interesting now that I say it out loud. Last but certainly not least, we have the Triplets, Masquerade, Melody, and Mimic. Stories say that changelings take the forms of anyone, but these three have chosen to take forms inspired by their favorite mascot performers. The Triplets used to live in hiding underground until they were lured out after seeing how much fun everyone else was having. They now spend their days playing games and chasing one another around the surface world. These animatronics were regularly stationed in Arcadescape, which is where they would play arcade games with facility guests and help kids win all sorts of fun prizes. These models at the facility were roughly 2'8" in height, equipped with wheels for feet and unique costumes themed to match other mascots. This model would be able to freely roam throughout the entire facility. Their personalities were tailored to complement the character they would interact with for larger-scale events and shows. Masquerade was a bright-eyed theater fanatic paired with Starlight, Melody was an eerily soft-spoken ball of energy paired with Lollipop, and Mimic was an anxious racing fan with a fear of crashing paired with Cheer. They speak with childlike voices. Dreamworld Entertainment had intended for these characters to be more relatable to the younger kids visiting the facility, providing energetic playmates for children to chat with while their parents take a break from the fun. They were most commonly seen at Arcadescape. These animatronics most frequently interacted with each other or their respective mentors. I don't really have any inspiration for the Triplets because they were just kind of made to be like the fun little mascots of the group, and they were obviously all inspired by the other existing characters. Like, Masquerade was designed after Starlight, they share the same colors, same for Mimic with Cheer and Melody with Lollipop. But I do have a fun thing that I can say that's about to blow your entire fucking mind. You know how I mentioned earlier that there were 4 decommissioned animatronics, and there was a 5th one that was going to be a mascot at the facility, but instead of being decommissioned or used as a character, it was taken to work backstage and work as the assistant of one of the founders, Sarah, the one who runs the facility. That animatronic was originally going to be the mascot for the arcade level of the building. They were going to be the last of the characters. There were going to be 8 floors, the lobby was themed after everyone, and then the 7 floors would be themed after each of the 7 mascots. But after the founder decided to repurpose that character for, like, working backstage as an assistant, there was now an open level of the building with no mascot character running it. The arcade just had no one. So, the engineering team had been planning on making little assistant robots that don't have any particular theme. They were just supposed to be little guys that ran around the entire facility and assisted the animatronics on each of the levels. So every single mascot would have had their own mini robot. But after the animatronic running the arcade was moved, they had to figure out something before opening day. So they took the 3 robots, the 3 mini ones that were done, and they're like, hey, why don't we just use these guys? And then they fucking threw them in there. And then that's why the Triplets are the only characters in the cast to be based on existing animatronics instead of any particular theme. They were pushed into the arcade kind of last minute. And yes, that is canon to the series. There were also originally going to be other mini robots for each of the other mascots. but they weren't finished. They were like half done. So if you go somewhere into one of the engineering buildings or like one of the secret labs that are hidden in Dreamworld Entertainment's facility, you will find like unfinished bodies and like maybe a head or something of these like mini robots that were never completed. I've seen people make like fan OCs of those characters. I don't consider the fan OCs canon for obvious reasons, but it's like fun to see people design them. If that idea gets popular enough, maybe I would draw out what all of the canon designs would look like, but that would only be if it got popular enough. Also, one last thing to fucking shatter your universe. Mimic is the only one with wings. Mimic has wings on his back because Cheer has the fairy wings on her back. We can all see that Masquerade doesn't have wings, obviously, but Melody here also doesn't have wings. Everyone thinks that the pink thing behind Melody, including artists who work on the show, like the web series, a lot of people thought that the pink things on Melody were wings. They're not wings. I hate to break this to you, but you know how Lollipop has that fluffy collar around their neck, and it's like that big puffy thing? That's what it is. It's a light pink version of that. That pink thing behind Melody's head is not wings. It's a big puffy shirt collar, like something that sticks up like this. It's like a shirt. It's a poofy thing. It's fabric. It's not wings. The only one who has wings is Mimic, and that's specifically because Cheer has wings. I hope that broke all of your hearts, and I'm so fucking sorry. Because otherwise, why would Masquerade be the only one without wings? It just doesn't really make sense. I can see how people thought they were wings, but no, it's the neck piece. It's such a small detail of the design that it doesn't matter, but I thought that was hilarious. Some of the important characters would be Sarah Covetman, Louis Bright, and Oliver Acrimony. They are the three founders of Dreamworld Entertainment. Then there's also Detective Damian Klain, who is a investigator that works with paranormal activity, and he has a ghost eye that allows him to perceive any anomalies or spiritual things that are going on in our world. So he's investigating Dreamworld Entertainment. The only thing I will say in this video that technically counts as spoilers, skip ahead like 15-20 seconds if you don't want to hear it, but the only thing I'd say that counts as spoilers is the fact that Oliver and Damien like each other, and they wind up dating later on. And one of the artists on the crew said that their ship name should be Television. And that is the funniest thing I've ever heard, so please make the fandom ship name Television. Wyatt Nicholson is obviously the new employee that was hired at Dreamworld Entertainment, and he's snooping around. And then Allison is another important character, and that's all I'll say for now. Other important characters include Eric Gale, Litho, the Avid Miser brothers, Hazel, and Celio, but you gotta watch the web series if you want any information about those people. The last section here is on Watchful Eye Toys. I can't really say much about Watchful Eye Toys without getting into spoiler territory for the series, but I can say that it's a toy company that often collaborates with Dreamworld Entertainment. They produce all sorts of official merchandise, and they also created living organisms called Twimblos. Twimblos are basically like the perfect household pet. They're just like living critters. They're just little guys. Like I have no other way to describe them. Just look at this. Little guy. I love it so much. So the Twimblos are like the flagship product for Watchful Eye Toys, but they aren't a mascot. The mascot for Watchful Eye Toys is this animatronic called Morris the Vampire Bat. He's a little court jester. He has the spiral in his eyes that matches the Watchful Eye Toys logo. He's the spokesperson for the company, or spokesrobot. And there's also the guy that's in charge of running the company, which is Norman. And Norman is not the founder of Watchful Eye Toys, but he does oversee a lot of the marketing and advertising stuff because the actual founder and owner of the company just needs someone else to look over things. So that's Norman. He's in charge of that. His name is a play on Normal Man. So that's definitely a good sign. There are no red flags there. There are also interactive tapes that are being produced by Watchful Eye Toys. The last of the interactive tape series comes out next week at some point, and that is where the audience's comments basically created a brand new animatronic. So stay tuned and watch that upcoming interactive tape if you want to see the animatronic that you guys designed. Also, speaking of merchandise toy companies, Keychains, look at them, please, 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 please. I was going to make new keychains of Allison and Morris, and I was also going to make a acrylic stand, which would basically be like a poster for the official Dreamworld game, but in acrylic form, and it would stand on your desk, and it would probably be like that big, or like something like that, like bigger than this thing. But I can't make those if we don't sell out of our stock from July. So a lot of you guys said you wanted the Pride keychains. So you better buy the Pride keychains. Everyone said they wanted them and they were really excited, but we have like a good handful still left in stock. So please help us sell out of supply if you want me to be able to order new keychains, including the ones of the new characters and the acrylic stand, for the upcoming merch shop opening in August. We have till the end of the week to sell the July stock, otherwise I won't have time to order new ones. So we have till Sunday, is what I'm saying. Now I gotta pull up some fan questions so I can review that. There were probably going to be a lot of fan questions that I cannot review in this video because they would include spoilers for the web series. But if I see like 1 or 3 obscure ones, I will definitely answer those really quick. How many animatronics were actually designed or made by Lewis? Curious. I'm pretty sure that all 14 animatronics, including the defunct 4 that were dismantled and they weren't dismantled, they were decommissioned. So all 14 animatronics were designed by Lewis. They were all characters that he made. Like all those little fictional backstories that we read, those were made by Lewis. He's like the creative mind behind a lot of the storytelling stuff, and he also did the character designs. Will there be any new characters for season 2? I know that we're going... This is spoilers for the web series, kind of, because the web series... Episode 13 just wrapped up Season 1, and then the ARG/indie game takes place in between Seasons 1 and 2, and then later this year I'm hoping to begin Season 2 if we get the funding for it. I don't know if there will be new characters in Season 2. Maybe. That's a big fat maybe. We already have a lot of characters, and Season 2 is supposed to delve into a lot of the existing characters that haven't gotten a lot of screen time, but... including the defunct animatronics. We're going to go into that a lot. We're going to go into, like, family stuff a lot. But maybe. That's a big maybe. I'm pretty sure there might be, like, 1 or 2, but I don't want to confirm anything yet because nothing's set in stone. Because I don't want to work on Season 2 until I know we have funding. What even is Norman? He seems interesting. Obviously, a normal man. Moving on. Can I hug Ribbon Dancer? Yes, you don't have to ask me that. He has 4 arms for a reason. What age is Celio? This isn't really a spoiler, so I guess I can say that. Celio Klain, the sibling of Damian Klain, the detective, Celio is probably like 30s, 40s, probably in the 30s, I'd say, but 30s, 40s, that range. I will nail that down later once I figure out what the age of some of the other characters are, just to be sure that I'm not overshooting. Will the outside of the Dreamworld entertainment facility be revealed soon? I'm just lazy as fuck and I haven't designed it. I know that it technically appears in like one of the later episodes for a few seconds, but I don't have a canon design for what the outside of Dreamworld entertainment would look like, just because I haven't had time to design anything that I like. So, I mean, if you want to submit fan ideas for that, I'm all for it. I just genuinely haven't had any ideas. For more, you will have to watch the web series or wait for the upcoming ARG. There are 13 episodes in the web series, 6 official shorts, including the project's prologue, 1 original song we made for the series, and there are currently 2 episodes of that spin-off for Watchful Eye Toys. Soon to be 3. The 3rd one is coming out sometime next week, I believe. And also, keychains. Keychains. Consider buying our keychains so we can make more funny robot stuff. They are available on my Etsy shop. I will include a pinned comment with the link to my shop. And if you want to support the series and the upcoming game, consider following me on Patreon, because literally the Patreon this summer funded the entire game. It funded the entire game. I had to pay for like some of the voice acting stuff out of pocket, but the Patreon has funded almost the entire game's art budget. And we would have not been able to make the game without the Patreon. So if you want to see Season 2, consider buying a keychain or joining the Patreon. Both help, and I've been posting a lot of stuff on Patreon, actually. Like, I just keep opening the app like, hey guys, want to see something cool? Check this out. So, if you want to see what I keep sliding people, go ahead and check out my Patreon. Guys, gals, and non-binary pals, thank you for watching me ramble incoherently. I hope this video gets up by, like, Thursday night if I'm lucky. Maybe Friday if I'm really tired, but yeah, I'm hoping this doesn't take too long to edit. I hope y'all just have a good night. I hope y'all just have a good night, and I will see y'all in my next live stream or upload. I'm looking forward to sharing the Dreamworld game with you guys sometime later this month or next. Bye-bye, everyone!